حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ونبيه ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. All praise and glory be to Allah. We thank Him and we seek His help and His guidance and His pleasure and His forgiveness, and His protection from the evil whispers within us and from the consequences of our evil deeds. For whomever Allah Azza wa Jal guides, this is a great gift that no one can ever take away. None can ever misguide that person. And whomever Allah in His perfect justice and perfect wisdom leaves without guidance, none can ever offer them guidance. And we testify that no one is worthy of our worship and our devotion and our love and obedience in the absolute sense of those words, but Allah and Allah alone, the true Supreme King without any partners. And the Prophet Mohammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was indeed, in truth, without doubt His Prophet and His servant and His messenger, whom Allah sent as a mercy to the worlds. And Allah Azza wa Jal says, and our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam would repeat every Jumu'ah, every Friday, and I remind myself and you with it again today, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who have committed to faith, O you who have believed, ittaqullaha, remain conscious of Allah, remain dutiful to Allah, remain devout and obedient to Allah, haqqa tuqatihi, in the amount of that consciousness, that dutifulness that is due to Him. And since we can never offer it in the amount that's due to Him, that's worthy of His greatness, then what that really means is as best as you possibly can. Remain in that state of taqwa as best as you possibly can. وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ, and do not die, and no one knows when they're going to die. So it means don't get caught off guard, being pulled from this life, get caught off guard by death, except in a state of complete and total loving and willing surrender to Allah, a state of Islam. To begin, after welcoming my brothers and sisters to this Jumu'ah, I believe it would be correct to claim that if our Prophet ﷺ was brought back to life in this day and age, nothing would please him more than seeing you, the people that regulate the places of worship, the people that are still praying, the people that put their lives on pause for what is more important than their life, for living for something greater than themselves and their existence, and that is the greatness of God, and devoting your lives to God. Because that is what He ﷺ lived for. That's what He invested His life and His blood and His sweat and His tears in. That's what He lost sleep over, ﷺ. If a person were to think when was the last time they got up in the middle of the night to have an intimate dialogue with God for their own good, out of concern for themselves and their well-being and their futures and their prosperity and their survival, could be hard to identify that time. Whereas our Prophet ﷺ would stand in prayer and weep at night for us before we were ever born, ﷺ. It's what he lived for. As Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ عَزِيزٌ عَلَيْهِ مَا عَنِتُّمْ حَرِيصٌ عَلَيْكُمْ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. There has certainly come to you a messenger from among yourselves. You know, not overlooking, not losing sight of the Prophet ﷺ's humanness is huge hugely important and consequential for you to be able to appreciate his sacrifice for you. That he was a human being at the end of the day, revealed to by God, inspired by God, protected from misstepping in the message of God, delivering it and fulfilling it. But he was human. It was not smooth sailing, it was not emotionless, it was not angelic. He was a human being. And remembering his humanness is key to appreciating his sacrifice. There has certainly come to you a messenger from among you, just like you. Azizun alayhi ma anittum, and it was very difficult on him to see you go through hardship. That people would lose their path. And the worst form of that would be losing their path to God, losing their path in life, not understanding their purpose in life, their meaning in life, the wisdom behind which Allah decided to create them. For what? Their existential purpose. It was difficult on him to see you go through hardship. Harisun alaykum, he was so keen on you, he was so protective over you. Bil mu'minina ra'ufun rahim, and with the believers in particular, he was ever so compassionate, even more so merciful, alayhi salatu wassalam. And there are countless depictions of this. I mean, in Sahih Muslim, Abdullah ibn Shaqiq rahimahullah, he says that I asked Aisha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the mother of the believers, I asked her, did the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to pray while seated? And he did. In his 9 prayers, he would conduct them while seated at the end of his life. But she explained when and how. Did the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to pray sitting down? قالت نعم بعدما حطمه الناس. She said yes, after the people wore him out, wore him down. After he exhausted himself, deteriorated himself in the service of the people, alayhi salatu wassalam. And in Sahih al-Bukhari, Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu says, there used to be a young servant, a person who would serve the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who was a Jew. He was a Jewish young man. And news reached the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, this young man fell sick and he's dying. And so he ran to his house, he sped to his house so fast that we lost our breath catching up with him. Young Anas is saying this about the older Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then he entered upon him and he said to him, say la ilaha illallah. Say none is worthy of worship. There's no true God but Allah. Say la ilaha illallah. And the young boy was, torn, and he looked to his father, who also was not Muslim. And in a moment of parental compassion that brings out the most honest moments out of any parent, he says to his son, though he's not Muslim, أطع أبا القاسم, obey Muhammad. And so the young boy says, La ilaha illallah. And shortly thereafter he dies. And so the Prophet ﷺ left his house beaming with joy. You could see it on his face, radiating with happiness. Saying, Alhamdulillah alladhi anqadhahu min al-nar. Praise be to Allah who saved him from the fire. And Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, it's hadith in Sahih Muslim also, that the Prophet ﷺ used to say, the example of me and you is like the example of a man who lit a fire, and so the moths and the bugs, butterflies, mosquitoes, they're jumping inside it. وَهُوَ يُذْهِبْهُنَّ عَنْهَا, while he's trying his best to chase them away from it, to get them from jumping into the fire, plunging into the fire. They see a bright light, they're drawn to it. That's the end of them. He says, وَأَنَا آخِذٌ بِحُجَزِكُمْ عَنِ النَّارِ وَأَنْتُمْ تَفْلِتُونَ مِنْ يَدِي. He says, and that's how I feel. It's like almost a lost cause to try to keep the bugs away from the fire. He's saying, and I am grabbing you by your garments from you plunging into the fire and you're slipping from my hands. That was his mindset, alayhi salatu wassalam. That was his concern, his anxiety, alayhi salatu wassalam. And Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that one time in a longer hadith, there was a man who did something inappropriate in the masjid, and the Sahaba were not as patient with him, considerate with him, as the Prophet ﷺ was. He was extra considerate, extra accommodating, to the point that this man got up in the end and he said, Allahumma arhamni warham Muhammadan wa la tarham ma'ana ahadan. Oh Allah, have mercy on me and have mercy on Muhammad, and don't have mercy on anybody else but us. And so the Prophet ﷺ, he appreciated the sentiment, but he didn't want that. He said, لَقَدْ حَجَّرْتَ وَاسِعًا. You've limited something, you've restricted something that's very wide. Like Allah's mercy is big enough for us all. We want everyone to enter. Don't be like that. Don't say something like that. Don't wish for something like that. And in a fifth hadith, Ubadah ibn Samit radiallahu ta'ala said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, مَنْ اسْتَغْفَرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ لِكُلِّ مُؤْمِنٍ وَمُؤْمِنَةٍ حَسَنًا. And this hadith was considered sound, traceable, acceptable by some of the hadith scholars. That whomever seeks forgiveness for the believing men and the believing women, Allah will write for them, for every single believing man and every single believing woman, one good deed. Can you imagine how many? Like 1.5 billion, and then rewind all throughout history. But what is that telling you? The Prophet why did Allah reveal to the Prophet ﷺ an incentive like this? Because that's part of being a believer. You, as bad as you want Allah's forgiveness, Allah's acceptance, Allah's pleasure, you're supposed to also want for people what you want for yourself as part of your faith. Loving for people what you love for yourself. So to want it just as bad for everybody else is part of the mindset of the Muslim. This is part of the ideal believer. You want everyone to get on the road and stay on the road, the only road that will deliver them to God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then, not just can we read it from all these images I gave you, reading his life, alayhi salatu wasalam, and inducing that this was his most obvious personality trait. Allah Azza wa Jal says, no, spell it out to them, Ya Muhammad. قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ. Say to them, I want them to know it, expressly stated. Say to them, this is my path. My path is that I call to Allah. That's the most hallmark facet of his path. Calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. I call to Allah upon insight. I know exactly what Allah wants. I'm not simply baselessly speculating about God or about His religion or about the method through which we can reach people's hearts and impact them for their good, for their own betterment, upon the insight that Allah revealed to me. And Allah endowed me with. I call to Allah, that's my path. Upon insight, hold on. Then it says, أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي. Me and those who follow me. And that's a bit of a sobering question now. Are you of those who follow Him? Are you one of His followers? Because if you are one of His followers, then you're riding that path. If you're not riding that path, then you need to consider, am I really one of His followers? And then if I'm not one of His followers, I'm not on that path, the path of da'wah, the path of concern, genuine concern for people's guidance, then will I end up where He ends up, alayhi salatu wassalam? That's the difficult question that we all have to answer. Because you know, like, His path delivers to one place. And if you're not on that path, other paths put you in danger of winding up in a very different place. There's only two destinations in the end, right? There's no third. We don't believe that there's you're not on the stoops outside of Jannah. There's no limbo either. There's none of that. And speaking about winding up where he winds up, alayhi salatu wassalam, this is very beautifully depicted in a hadith in Sahih Muslim also, by a Sahabi whose name was Rabi'a ibn Ka'b al-Aslami, radiyallahu anhu. Rabi'a ibn Ka'b al-Aslami used to live in the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He was of the people that moved to Medina and gave up everything, and so they couldn't even afford to live, so they lived in the masjid. And he says, I used to bring the wudu water for the Prophet to wash up. I used to bring him wudu water at night, in case he wants to get up and wash up and pray, and he doesn't have to go far in the darkness. I would bring it right next to him to be ready for him. And so one time the Prophet ﷺ wanted to reciprocate somehow, to repay him for this consideration, this beauty, this service. And so he said to him, Salni ya Rabi'a, ask me for something, like please, like make a request. And in some narration he said to him, hold off, let me think about it. And he came back to him days later and he told him, Salni ya Rabi'a, I haven't forgotten, ask me. So he said to him, As'aluka murafaqataka fil Jannah. I ask you to wind up with you in paradise. Because that would be enough, right? Though there are many other things in Jannah. But if, as one of the scholars said, when he was asked, describe to us Jannah, he felt it was enough to say, Fiha Rasulullah, in it is the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's enough. Many of you would be floored if a certain celebrity walked through that door, right? But this is the greatest man to ever breathe oxygen, and the sun has ever risen upon, ever to walk the earth. So he said, I ask you for your company in Jannah. قال أو غير ذلك, is anything else? He says, no, huwa that. That's it. That's the one I want. You know, number one, Rabi'a ibn Ka'ab, keep in mind guys, this is a man that has nothing. Like, he sleeps on the sand in the masjid. There's not even carpets in the masjid. Like, when we come to the masjid, or even we sleep over in the masjid in i'tikaf, like, there's carpets, and there's iftar, and there's suhoor, and there's iPads with us. And still we can't wait to get out. Man, I'm going to get these 10 days over with. If you've ever tried it, I'm going to do it for Allah, and then we always cut it short and we leave before Eid. Though the Prophet ﷺ would leave i'tikaf after Eid. That's a different issue. He would sleep on the sand, which means, and like, everyone goes home after Isha, and they have their dinners, and that's when they have their dinners. They're either going to remember him, and he'll have a meal that night, or they'll overlook him, thinking someone else is going to feed him, and he'll spend another night hungry. So like, of all the things you can think about, like, I want to get married, I just need a place to stay, something, a little bit of privacy, he told him, no, I want your company in Jannah. Anything else? No, that's it. So this is the head of state coming to you. You can ask for whatever you want, can't you? So why didn't he say like your companionship in Jannah and a small little, hut, a small little house? It's as if Rabi'a ibn Ka'ab was ashamed to include everything in the same sentence with Jannah. Right? It's almost like, what kind of car what would you like? I would like a Lamborghini. What else would you like? I'd like a Twizzler. It doesn't even make sense. Like, are you serious? It is an insult to the Lamborghini to ask for a Twizzler with it. And so he's saying, I want your company, and then he doesn't even say, I want Jannah. I want your company. He mentioned, as the scholars say, like, Al-Jaru qabla al-Dar, that his company, he mentioned it even before paradise. This is just like the wife of Fir'aun in the Quran, when she said, Rabbi bini li indaka baytan fil, oh Allah, build for me with you a palace in paradise. For her great sacrifice, she didn't say, build for me a palace with you. She said, with you a palace. Because what really gives value to any place is its location, more than its specs. I'm from New York City. The houses are this tight, and there's no parking whatsoever, and you hear honking outside. And the apartment is just like some exorbitant amount. Like, why in the world? Say, no, you don't know. Next door here is this celebrity, and next door here is this politician, right? The location. You're on Park Avenue. You're in, this high-end place. So he knew where it came from, the value, and so he says, I want your company in Jannah. Alayhi salatu wasalam. May Allah grant it to us and you. Say Ameen. And then he didn't just ask for it. It wasn't wishful thinking, was it? He didn't just ask for it, he worked for it, because he gave up his home to be close to the Prophet ﷺ in Medina, to be eligible for their request, right? To show that he's genuine in his request. To wind up where the Prophet ﷺ winds up. What did the Prophet ﷺ tell him though? When he said anything else, he said, no, that's it. Who that? Just that. He said, أعني على نفسك بكثرة السجود. Which basically means, help me help you with many sujuds, many prostrations. Because every prostration you make, you are raised one level. That's what the Prophet ﷺ told us in other hadith. So help me help you. Help me put in this request for you with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the greatest thing you can do, this is the first thing I want to, before bringing it back to his path, and the path of da'wah and all this, the first thing you need to know is that the greatest action in your life are the moments where you lay your head down to God subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what truly defines you being a good person. You truly being guided. You truly being committed. You truly being someone interested in His pleasure and afraid of His anger subhanahu wa ta'ala. Focus on your prayers more than you focus on anything else in your life, regardless of where life takes you. This is humongous. Meaningful prayers, quality prayers, timely prayers. Understand the meanings of what you're saying in the prayer and pray it on time and fight yourself to get rid of the distraction so it becomes more qualitative. And this will not be a fight forever, this will be quite enjoyable. Until your prayer becomes for you like it was for the Prophet ﷺ, or close to it, more enjoyable than anything else anyone ever gets enjoyment from in this world. It is the true delight, where you connect with the heavens. That's the greatest thing you can do. If you do that, nobody is better than you. Alright? Except one person. The person who gets other people to make sujood as well. Because that is the fulfillment of the Prophet's path. Right? Salah was the central unit in his life that erected everything else, that defined his greatness. It was propelled from there. But it went on to not simply benefiting yourself and walking away from the world, allowing the world to burn down, to be lost, to self-destruct, to go bring others, teach others, show others what it means to live for God. Then you become the best person, bar none. Then you become truly on the Prophet's path. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. Who is better, meaning nobody is better, than someone who calls others to God, helps them find God, and works righteousness. They do it in themselves first. They don't call with their tongues and then chase people away with their actions. They respond to Allah's call and then call others to that thing, that element, that mission that they responded to and embraced. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ونبيه ورسوله. I only have like 2 minutes left in the khutbah, but I wish we can just take these two. Why can't we? We certainly can. Why can't we teach people to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because that's what da'wah is really about, right? You loving Allah more than anything else, and you loving for people what you love for yourself. To get them to love Allah. That's it. You know, when you love something, you can't stay silent about it. Like even the most trivial things. Like we're sitting in college and someone says that's the best burger spot. If you don't believe that, you love another, you will not let them say that. Like, no, that spot is way better. You will not be able to stay out of the conversation. You know when like guys are like, they find this girl and they think she's like the girl of their dreams and stuff? Amazing. How they market that girl to their parents, right? She's absolutely perfect. She's great family, great manners. She's religious, and they just keep going. They're just not able to be. And then the parents start actually wonder, like, really? Maybe she. I didn't know this stuff still existed. And a person who is in love will not be able to be silent about the things they love. And so I'm not saying strain relationships and not be wise, you're going to regulate your passions with your wisdom, for sure. But that feeling has to be there. I can't sit still. I have to let people know. No matter what, I have to let people know. And the examples in the Quran of this are so many. But you know the story in Surah Yasin, where the man says to the people, he runs from the end of the city on foot, he's running, saying, follow the messengers. The end of the story says, it was said to him, enter paradise. So that means one of two things. The ayat are really clear. It means either he did this until his very last breath. Some historical reports say they actually killed him. They actually persecuted him for calling to God. By the way, this guy's not even a messenger. He's saying, follow the messengers. That was not the job of the shaykh. It's not the job of the messengers and the prophets only. It's all of our jobs. To the extent that we know, to the extent that we can. So he says, follow the messengers. Then Allah fast forwards for us. And he says to us, it was said to him, enter paradise. It's possible that they killed him. It's possible. Because they were very aggressive and hostile if you read the story. And then it just jumps and says, go to paradise. But what happens? قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ بِمَا غَفَرَ لِي رَبِّي وَجَعَلَنِي مِنَ الْمُكْرَمِينَ. He says after it's told to him, enter paradise, after he's dead, he says, I wish my people knew. The people that may have killed him, he still wishes they knew how my Lord has forgiven me. And I wish my people knew God was true. I wish my people knew why they were alive. I wish they knew the Prophet ﷺ. I wish they knew that Jannah was true and that Nar was true. That is the road of your Prophet ﷺ. And you are aligned with him so long as you are aligned with that. And to the degree that you're aligned with that, may Allah make us and you instruments and beacons of light for his beautiful deen, for his perfect deen, for his authentic deen to be shared with the world. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instill in us that love for people that we have for ourselves and allow us to live lives that are selfless and lives that are compassionate and lives of strength and determination and lives of meaning. Allahumma ameen. Allahumma ighfir lana warhamna. وإلى غيرك لا تكلنا اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما أسررنا وما أعلنا وما أنت أعلم به منا اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات أعز الإسلام وانصر المسلمين وأذل الظلمة والمعتدين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أقيموا الصلاة